What's up, everybody? Man, I'm at you with the final installment of the top 10 video game consoles of all time. I know it took me a while to get to this number one, but man, between being busy and lazy at the same time, I'm sorry, I just couldn't do it, man. These videos take a long ass time to do. But without any further ado, I'm going to go ahead and get it to it, let you know what the number one video game console of all time is in my personal opinion. But before we can get to where we're going, we got to know where we've been. So let's go back. Number 10 was the Atari 2600. Number 9, the Nintendo 64. Number 8, the PlayStation 3. Number 7, the Sega Dreamcast. Number 6 is the Super Nintendo. Number 5, the original PlayStation 1. Number 4, the Xbox 360. Number 3, the Sega Genesis. And number 2, the original NES. Now, what could be number 1? I'll spout off a few honorable mentions for some systems that could have made it but didn't. The Nintendo GameCube, the Sega Master System, and the Neo Geo. A lot of people not up on that system. So the question still remains, who's number 1? I narrowed it down to 2 systems that I was strongly, for. Those systems would be the PlayStation 2 and the original Xbox. Now I'll touch a bit on the PlayStation 2 since it came out first. The PlayStation 2 was launched in October of 2000 here in North America, and then a month later in Europe. Now this system pulled in $250 million on the first day. Now, that was eclipsing the $97 million made on the first day when the Dreamcast launched some months, a year before that. This system has worldwide sold over 150 million units to date, and it just got discontinued in January of this year, 2013, that is. Man, oh man. Now the PS2 at the end of 2000 caused Sega, the Dreamcast, problems both financially and competitively. And Sega ultimately discontinued the Dreamcast in March of 2001, just 18 months, a year and a half, 18 months after a successful launch. That's crazy. This system was like so much in high demand that people could not find these systems and ended up having to go on websites like eBay and was paying like $1,100, $1,200, $1,300 for a system, for a console. The most in-demand system of all time, no doubt about it. And I wasn't even aware of this until I read it, that the best-selling game of all time for this system was Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. Yikes. So once the Dreamcast went belly up, they remained the only active 6th generation console on the market for the next 6 months before it would face competition from its new rivals. Those rivals would be the GameCube and this console, the Microsoft Xbox. Now this was another favorite of mine, the original Xbox. Now this system was released in November of 2001 here, and I believe it was released in like February in Japan. So this system, it came out a little bit later, and it was, came in just to directly compete with the PlayStation 2 and the Dreamcast and all that. But the Dreamcast was pretty much belly up by that time, just about by that time. Man, this was the system, yo. I mean, it really was. I personally didn't have one until about 2003, but this was the system, man, that really put online gaming on the map. Now you had online gaming before, of course, with people playing, online on their computers, and then with the console as far as the Dreamcast. And I'm not sure if the PlayStation 2 was already online by then. I think it was. So this was the system, yo. That's all I can say. It looked better. It was a damn tank, man. That damn thing was huge. This system was big as hell. It was heavy as hell. Now, the knock on this system, man, is the original controller. And the original controller, man, was, oh my god, man, who designed that? It's like you take the Dreamcast controller, which looks uncomfortable, but surprisingly good once you get it in your hand and get the feel for things. You know what I'm saying? As far as like the controls and what games you're playing and stuff. But with that original Xbox controller, that was some stuff, boy. That was a really a learning curve to get over. Now I got to go over some of the launch titles that came out with this system. Now with the system, you had, well, before I get into that, the highest selling game for that system was Halo 2. It doesn't specify how many it sold, but it was the highest selling game for that system. But some of the launch titles for this system when it came out was Halo, the original Halo. You had Oddworld, Munch's Odyssey. You had Dead or Alive 3, Project Gotham Racing, NFL Fever 2002, Air Force Delta Storm, Mad Dash Racing, Cell Damage, Arctic Thunder, Fusion Frenzy, Jet Set Radio Future, which was a Japan launch, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 25, whichever one that was by that time. So they came out with so many of those damn games. Transworld Surf, 4x4 Evo 2, and Shrek. Pretty unimpressive lineup, right? I still say to this date that the Dreamcast had the best launch lineup of all time. Now, with all that deliberation I did, sitting here trying to figure out which one was better, which should be number one, I thought about it like this. Instead of doing like some people do, and that shows some untamed loyalty or whatever to a specific brand, a company, or whatever have you, I did it like this. I'm loyal to gaming and gaming itself, and for what I feel I got my money's worth out of, the winner of this number one spot, without a shadow of a doubt, will have to go to the Sony PlayStation 2. Y'all can hate me later. I'm out. Peace.